This week we talk about all things Halloween. As this Wednesday, Fright Night is on AEW Dynamite, and TNA Bound for Glory is just finished, where PCO took over, JBL appeared, and Masha Slamovich, the scariest of them all, became women's champion. But most importantly, we end on maybe the scariest thing, Crown Jewel. This is the Dangerous Jobbers podcast. Here we
People have been asking me to be the best in the world. Why, Eddie? Why? I'm better than you.
My eyes are red. I was in the back smoking a joint with Van Dam.
You know it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I am your boy, Stevie Jobber.
And I'm your boy, Dangerous Duke.
And welcome back to the Dangerous Jobbers podcast, putting wrestling over one podcast at a time.
With no flickering lights.
And without further ado, we get right into the scary things about this week, what happened last week, what's approaching us. I think we start big. We start with the tag division in WWE.
Ooh.
We got the War Raiders coming back. We got DIY, former tag team champions, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, world-renowned Japanese tag team specialist, being the world tag team champions. We have the Motor City Machine Guns, TNA Legacy, TNA Royalty, showing up and winning the number one contenders match against DIY to challenge for those championships that the Bloodline, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa have. And then one more tag team to tie it all together, the Usos, surprisingly enough. So to go over this whole thing, Motor City Machine Guns debut for the tournament to decide who is fighting for the WWE Tag Team Championships. They end up winning their first match, qualifying to then face DIY. They go and have a banger. There's a lot of backstory about that, but it's a long show. We won't get to it. The Guns beat DIY. They go on to face Tama Tonga Tongaloa. In the course of the match, as normal Bloodline things tend to happen, people get involved and people come for the save, as the Bloodline currently is fighting the original Bloodline members, Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns. But that was not all, as the championship match would end with one more Uso coming out and solidifying the victory for the Machine Guns. That last Bloodline member, original Bloodline member, the right hand, main event, Jay Uso, comes back into the fold, at least we think. And 3 matches in, the Motor City Machine Guns are your WWE Tag Team Champions. Before we get to the Bloodline stuff, Duke, just tell me how you're feeling about the Guns in 7 days since they debuted, becoming the Tag Team Champions. What does this mean for the tag division?
It means revitalization. It means rejuvenation. Not only do you have fresh blood coming in as in 7 days winning your tag titles, you have an established, like a truly established tag team, a world-renowned tag team, like you just said, coming in, giving this tag division a much-needed boost. Not to say the tag division was weak, because is it really weak? No, considering the teams. Just on paper, the tag team matches have been kind of stale because your tag champs are focused on other stuff. But now with the Machine Guns coming in, you got plenty of things you can do with them. You got, DIY, like you just said. On paper, you give them an actual storyline or a match, they'll do something great. You put them in there with the Profits, they're going to do something great. I'm actually very interested to see them have a tag team title match with the Street Profits. I think that'll be awesome. But it just gives it a boost. It gives the tag division some new legs, some new blood. It kind of revitalizes it a little bit and gets the blood pumping again. It gets you excited for tag team wrestling, in my opinion. And there hasn't been a more exciting tag team, or there hasn't been many more exciting tag teams over the last 20 years than the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. I'll end that on this, just to say what it means for them to have the belts. What it means for them to have the belts in the first 7 days. What it means for them to have the belts probably faster than, I want to say, faster than anyone else has gained gold in the Triple H era.
Yeah, they've definitely got it the fastest.
And what it means for the tag division. I think that we know they've been trying to get the Lucha Bros, and we know they've been refining characters, bringing characters back to where they need to be successful, and being storylines that aren't just humorous, but are like actual meaningful storylines that can result in championship gold at some point. I think them giving the Bucks, not giving the Bucks, giving the Motor City Machine Guns the championships 7 days in, I think what it means is that we finally found solid tag team, not just a solid tag team division, but a solid leader for the tag division going forward that's not storyline based. The
Yes.
bloodline is easy to have the titles on because they really didn't matter much after the Usos had them or Kevin and Sammy lost them.
Hmm.
They kind of lost a lot of luster. And so it was cool that the Gorillas of Destiny had the tag titles, but they still kind of felt like forgettable.
Yeah.
Like them having the titles was an afterthought. Kind of like Judgment Day currently. They're both kind of working out that tag division issue, but it seems by putting the straps on the Motor City Machine Guns and a feud that doesn't really include them,
Hmm.
kind of gives you a breakaway of having, it's almost like when Vince used to break glass for AJ Styles in case of emergency. Like you had somebody solid that can do the job, that knows how to lead a tag division, and you just kind of gave them best case scenario, all the hype in the world, and then all the legitimacy, and then was able to storyline your way into giving them the belts in a way where they had a great match, and the result was not because of them cheating or whatever, but just to capitalizing on the moment.
Hmm.
And now the Guns get to head a solid tag division that we've now built. It just means a lot for me that Triple H trusted them so fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Onto the Usos though. The bigger thing is that Jimmy and Jay seemingly are back together. It seems the loss of the Intercontinental Championship did bring Jay back home. Was this the right move? Was it too fast? How do you feel?
No, I don't think it was. I don't think it was too fast. He got it was it a short IC title reign? Yeah, it was a little short, but he got to do some stuff with it. He got the PR with the belt. He got to have meaningful defenses. He defended it a couple times, so he got to showcase it a little bit and have fun with it. He got a longer reign than his dad did, so which that's also another plus side to it.
Yeah.
Uh, and we all kind of figured this was going to be a little bit transitional anyway, but they made it meaningful while it was transitional. You gave him, I think, like 2 or 3 solid defenses with the belt, and then it went back to what the main story was going to be, what we all knew it was going to lead up to, which was potentially a War Games scenario. And Jey Uso is not somebody you're going to move from point A to point B and have it be slow.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do it fast with him. Like, okay, he just dropped the belt. Now he got to go get the people who made him drop the belt, and he got to do it now. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the way that they did it, while the reign was short, it was the best way to do it. I have really no complaints about it.
I just wonder. I just wait for the promo now. You know,
Yes.
because we got to see the actions, we didn't get to hear it, and I feel like the Bloodline promos are the best pieces of cinema.
Mm-hmm.
We got the moment. Now I can't wait for the next episode, pretty much. I will say this, not to whoever came up with main event, because it's kind of funny how the moniker now almost puts him at a place where it's bad booking if he's irrelevant because his name is contrary to that.
You know,
So naming him the main event it kind of is ingenious for him because it's a win-win scenario because you can't get even if you can't be at the top, your moniker naturally means people have to book you at a high level of importance.
you know what I liken it to?
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels in the 2000s, where he wasn't a world champion in the 2000s for like the later ends of the 2000s, like when he was fighting Kurt and when he was feuding with Hogan and like the mid 2000s when he was doing that. He wasn't always the main event in the main event. He wasn't always in the world title match. He didn't always win the world title, but you always called him the showstopper. You always called him the headliner. You always called him Mr. WrestleMania, even if he wasn't in the main event of WrestleMania. So main event Jey Uso is kind of in that Shawn Michaels 2000 spot where will he be the world champion? Possibly not, but you know he's going to be somewhere of significance and you're going to pay attention to it and it's going to make that part of the show matter.
Absolutely. Every time. Every time. Moving on, AEW people. For my AEW fans, I'm keeping my segment short this week, but I will say this, two things. I'm interested in this Wednesday. They got a great card this Wednesday. Swerve is fighting Shelton Benjamin. Very excited for that. I almost wish it could be something bigger, but the way they built this card, like I'm not mad at it. You know how they do. I think we're gonna get a more serious Orange Cassidy. I just think they're heading in a lot of good directions this week, and they've been heading in a really good direction in general. And second thing is that they're making Collision matter. They're making Collision matter in a way that ties into Dynamite, and I think if the rumors are true that they might be rating of one or two shows to make room for a one single show that might be 2 hours. I could be wrong about that, but that is what the rumors are. If they make it that sort of thing, you can thread storylines through all of the shows without doing a draft. I think it'd be really cool. My thing is, though, I digress, is I think Leo Rush is headed for a turn. I think they're writing it that way, and I think it needs to happen. I almost thought he was going to join the Hurt Syndicate, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'll walk you through the events. So, if you didn't know, Leo Rush debuted against Shelton Benjamin. This is a weird way that they weave in these stories. Leo Rush got this match because he was announcing that he's officially All Elite. He is officially re-signed with AEW at pretty much the same time that the Hurt Syndicate is debuting in AEW. They come across each other. Leo gets disrespected. I like that promo. He gets a match with Shelton Benjamin, comes up short. Did we know this was going to happen? Yes, but this is still Leo Rush. So no knock on Leo. This past week, Leo had a match on Collision with Ricochet. Loses the match against Ricochet. At another time when Ricochet is just recently debuting in the company. Now, mind you, Leo has been a name that we will refer to with these same people, but his stock has lowered, even though he's gained stock. As far as in the fans' eyes, he's still ranked lower.
Yeah.
But you got to remember another thing about those monikers we go back to, he's the man of the hour. He's supposed to be high level. He's supposed to be well respected, well regarded, well booked.
Mm-hmm.
So after the match against Ricochet, cameras find him and head him back after the loss, ask him how he feels, and he's upset, tells him to get the camera out of his effing face. He's taking off his wrist tape. During the match, he tried to grab a chair.
Mm-hmm.
And it ends up costing him in the back. If you know, you know. If you're an AEW guy, if you're a WWE guy, I'm sorry. But if you're an AEW guy, you know Leo runs with a group of guys. He got back with his homies from Top Flight, and they added Action and Andretti. And I can't remember the young lady's name. But he got back with that crew. One half of Top Flight calls him out on, I think it was Dante, calls him out on using the chair. Says it's not what we're about. It's not what we do. And Leo pissed off, goes, what would you have done? Please tell me what you would have done in that case. And Action Andretti comes in the midst of Top Flight trying to kind of jump on Leo about, doing some heel-ish. And Action Andretti goes, I don't know why you two are so upset. He points to one of them and goes, actually, like, you know. It was like, I don't know why you don't know. You do anything to get the win. I'm sick of going out there every week and losing. Makes a very prominent point. And one thing in a villain arc, especially nowadays, is being the guy that makes sense. And Leo don't like to lose. So at first I thought Leo might be joining the Hurt Syndicate after this little debacle. But now I think he might end up influencing the group to turn heel, which would be better for Leo, because why leave one group to be in another group where you might be booked better, but you're not necessarily the head of that group?
Yeah. I agree with your statement. I think the better thing for Leo to do would be to take Top Flight and turn Top Flight heel. Only in the sense, well, not even only, but mainly just because you join the syndicate, cool. You're gonna join the syndicate as a heel. That's great. You're gonna be great, and we don't mind that. But if you could get Top Flight on the same page and have Top Flight be heel with you, not only will it elevate you and get you better stuff, it's gonna elevate Top Flight and get Top Flight better stuff too. Now, can Top Flight pull off the heel thing? Quite possibly they could. Well, it'll be a little difficult, but they can do it. So I think I think him leaving Top Flight, letting Top Flight be heel with Leo, is better than Leo leaving Top Flight and just going to the syndicate, because if he goes that route, who's the first people they're going to feud with as a group? Probably Top Flight. What's going to happen to Top Flight? They're probably going to get buried. So just turning Leo heel with Top Flight would make better booking sense for them.
And why not turn the whole group heel so that Leo can still be the head of it?
Exactly. And I'd rather be the face of the company than just the spoke on the wheel, so to speak.
Absolutely. So that's all I have on AEW this week, guys. On to some TNA news, because Bound for Glory just passed. And we could do a whole Bound for Glory thing, but this is a crown jewel, unfortunately. This is a crown jewel. This is a crown jewel pie, because we're doing predictions as the main thing. I want to get to a few things from Bound for Glory, and then we'll get to crown jewel. One of the first things is that, not on the show, but in one of the tapings, Chris Bay unfortunately was injured. He took a bump and not moved afterward, and they got medic out there. There is reports that he was communicative, and I believe he's either hospitalized or being seen now. But just big wishes to Chris Bay. They had a killer ladder match with the Hardys, who had painted the arena for Bound for Glory, and just had a killer match. dropping the titles to the Hardys. Just a crushing injury. Chris Bay is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully just a speedy recovery to him. In bigger news, Masha beat Jordan Grace in their fourth match. Well, not bigger news, but in like actual Bound for Glory news, Masha beats Jordan Grace for the Knockouts Women's Championship in their fourth match. Took Masha a second go around after that first big build up to get it, but I feel like even though it might have took a little longer than I preferred, it's still great timing. If you don't know, if you're listening to the first time, which you might be, Masha was one of our original wrestlers of the pod, which is a segment we used to do on here to just acknowledge people from the indies you might not know that are doing great things. And to see her come this long of a way against somebody we also watched for a very long time, after kind of being mentored behind the scenes for a couple years, finally achieved being the Knockouts Women's Champion is just really cool to see. And I'm wondering what's next for Jordan after this.
Mm-hmm.
And then JBL, still on his road cowboy, ends up costing Joe Hendry the TNA World Championship against Nick Nemeth at Bound for Glory. Now, I'm not sure what the JBL character is. It's definitely multi indie gimmick because he's doing it all across the indies.
Yeah, he's just doing side quests.
And I'm not really sure what the motive is. He hasn't had a match for it yet. But I mean, maybe Hendry and JBL is that match because a lot of people seem to be upset about them not putting the belt on Hendry.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but Nick Nemeth's character is far better than Joe Hendry's. No offense to Joe Hendry, in my opinion, but I think the run that Nemeth's on right now, you can't exactly tinker with that too much or stray from the path.
Yeah, I feel like in order for Nemeth to have or feel solid, he's got to lose and it's got to mean something. I think if Hendry was to win, it would have just meant that they were going with Hendry.
Yeah, it's for Nemeth's character to lose, it does have to mean something. It has to matter, and Joe Hendry just as like the crowd favorite wouldn't have made sense. It'd have been like if you took the belt off of Roman and put it on LA Knight. Yeah, he's over because of his music and his catchphrases or whatever, but wouldn't have made sense too much.
I was just gonna say that does lead me to that old question I had about the LA Knight paradox of like having that glass ceiling, like because you don't have an arc that like really results in you needing the world championship and your gimmick doesn't lend itself to serious storylines. You still kind of are at this like high mid card level where like a lot of people can liken you for a spot, but it doesn't exactly mean your character's made for that spot right now.
Yeah, it's more like a situation of circumstance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Duke, I'm gonna hand it to you. We have officially gotten through all the news I have. Crown Jewel predictions from here.
All right, so this is where we start the Crown Jewel predictions. Now currently, as of now, there's 6 matches slated, but potentially 7. So I'm gonna do the 7 because we all know what match number 7 could possibly be, but it'll just be up there at the end as a possible. So, and I'm gonna go from what I think is order of importance, since there's no slate of where the matches are going to be right now, but they have the matches. So I'm just going to go in order of least important to the most important, starting with the Fatal 4-Way tag team match for the women's tag team titles. We got Jade and Bianca. We have the Damage Control duo of Kairi Sane and Io Sky. We have the Meta 4 with Last Legend and Jakara Jackson. And then Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Stevie, first match. What do you think this result's going to be?
My prediction is Jade and Bianca.
You're going Jade and Bianca?
I think they might get a War Games,
Okay.
but I'm not sure yet. I just know that the whole thing with Naomi being with them and Bailey being friends with Naomi and them kind of being on the rocks and Bianca kind of being on the rocks with Bailey. Like all of that matters to some extent. And eventually that has to play out.
Okay.
I don't know where, I don't know when, but I think as long as the four of them are being associated together, it lends itself to a War Game. So not yet.
All right. I was in a toss-up between between the team of Jade and Bianca and the Metal Four. Yes, so do I. But I'm gonna lean more into the Jade and Bianca thing strictly for the War Games aspect. Otherwise, I would have definitely went the Metal Four. But yeah,
I would like Metaphor to win.
But Jade and Bianca, I think are going to be the ones. And plus, they got their story coming potentially for WrestleMania season, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, I will say before you move on, I do think the Metaphor versus Bianca and Jade is a thing they could return to.
Oh yeah.
I think that there's definitely more there between the four of them. They have great chemistry, at least in the promos.
And they could potentially be the ones to do it in a 2-on-2 scenario.
I feel like there's money there. But yeah.
And then next up we have the triple threat match for the US title. LA Knight, Andrade, and Carmelo Hayes. This was a tough one for me to call, so I'm gonna let you go here.
This is shit. It's a tough one for me to call. But I'll straightforward with you. My prediction is LA Knight because I don't think there's a booking way for him to go following the loss, which is the totally different reason than I had for the other champion losing. This one is purely because I just don't think there's a creative direction to go if LA Knight loses the belt, so he kind of has to be the one to keep it. My frustration comes in because I'm waiting for Triple H to decide. I think he knows it's very important, and I think he knows that we know that it's very important. You have to choose whether it's Andrade or it's Carmelo. Who is the better person? Eventually, you have to make a decision. And I don't want MVP or Swerve or anyone that is spreading rumors to try and get you to change maybe your booking decisions. Whoever you choose to be the better man, you have to choose them.
Yeah.
Because you can only hold this interest for so long.
Yeah.
And very quickly, I will get bored of this. We are on match 7. We already weren't supposed to be on match 6. We weren't supposed to get like past match 5, or really even 3, really. So to make it all the way to the championship match, which we kind of already figured it was going to be, it feels like it kind of has to end here, and it sucks because I still feel like you need to choose. Like, should LA Knight win? Are they just gonna truce it out after that? Like, one of them has to win. One of them has to be the winner. One of them has to be like, I'm better than you. And honestly, Hunter, I'm not mad whatever way you choose, but you have to eventually choose one of them.
Yeah, I'm thinking LA Knight here, but I'm also in the same boat. Like, it's a decision that you got to come to. You got to figure something out. Either way, if LA Knight wins, in my opinion, the next person he feuds with is who he's losing it to, and I don't really care who it is. Like, not that I don't care. It's I don't know who it's gonna be, but whoever it is, I got a feeling LA Knight's dropping the title to that person.
And I wouldn't have minded if it was one of them. I don't think it's gonna be now, but I wouldn't have minded if it was. That was the thing for me, is because you dragged us on long enough to be like, okay, whoever wins this could win the United States Championship, and then they kind of cost each other or didn't get the job done in some sort of way, and they ended up just feuding with each other again because Carmelo wouldn't keep his mouth shut, basically.
Yeah, but
So now it's like I just need
what
somebody
man?
to be better. Yeah, I just need somebody to be better than the other person so we can move on before
Yeah.
this gets boring. Y'all keep pulling out these classic matches out y'all ass, but y'all can only do it so many times. So many
Exactly.
times, man. But yeah.
And then the next match we have Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens, the match for I guess for Cody Rhodes' honor or dishonor, if you will. And you know what? I think this is pretty cut and dry here for me. As much as I love the guy, I'm going Kevin Owens on this one.
Yeah, I'm going Kevin Owens. I'm going Kevin Owens. This is the Kevin Owens I've been waiting for. And it looks like you know it's funny. I'm gonna coin this term now. And I'm not sure how much they're gonna play into it. But it's looking like if they are feeding the rumors that Kevin Owens hasn't resigned, or if it's not a rumor and Kevin Owens really is not going to resign, and this is the way they're writing him, oh my God. They're doing such a service to him. Because if he's going out of that door, writing him is the scapegoat Kevin Owens, showing up in TNA with the Bucks. Oh, you're helping them, but you're also helping yourself. Like
Yeah.
it's this thing where like I'm so for you. I'm gonna write you into the next place if you don't come back.
Yeah, it's kind of like they're disservicing, but servicing in a sense.
And it'd be so sick to have like I love the promos. I love them not addressing it on TV. I love him sending a video packaging because they won't let him come into the building. I like Randy wanting to beg for this match. I like Triple H telling him, "You don't want this, Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
I'm protecting you." Triple H telling Randy, his son, "Listen, I let you do a lot of shit, but I am protecting you. This is not the Kevin Owens you know." He woke up today and he was Kevin Steen. I've never seen this Kevin Owens.
This is NXT Kevin.
This is NXT Kevin. And that was the reference. When he first walked into this place, he was a different dude. And that's what we kept saying. This is not the Kevin Owens I know. And he has showed up as the Kevin Owens he knows. And Triple H is afraid of him. He's like Pillman. Like he's like Pillman.
This is our loose cannon.
I like scapegoat Kevin Owens. I like it.
Speaking of people that aren't who we thought they were, the next match that we have, Big Bronson Reed versus Seth frickin' Rollins. Who do you got in this one? What's your thought process here?
It's just tough too, man. This one's tough too. And I'll tell you why. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough because your wrestling math for me adds up to Seth Rollins. But boy, when Bronson Reed gets it going, you just want to see him keep going.
As of late, right?
And he's been impossible not to watch since Paul Pierce let him just start doing whatever he wanted.
Paul Pierce.
Sorry, wrong Pierce.
Adam Pierce.
Some scrap daddy Adam Pierce has let him do whatever he wanted. He has been one of the most entertaining people to see. And it reminds me a lot of Braun Strowman. He just kind of shows up and just starts wrecking stuff and wrecking people. And that tsunami looks devastating. That tsunami look as good as the bonsai drop used to look on people. Like I'd be thinking people could die from that tsunami the way he be doing it. And to get in there with Seth, like I know they're gonna have a banger. And my mind is telling me Seth should win. But how big of an impact would it be for Bronson Reed to beat Seth Rollins?
You know what? This isn't Bronson Reed we're getting. This is Jonah Rock from TNA. This is Jonah. This is wrestler of the pod we're getting right here. Jonah Rock from Impact. So it is with that reason I am going with Bronson Reed to win this match against Seth Rollins, because you don't want him to stop. Literally for every reason you just gave. That's why I'm going with a big Bronson Reed on this match.
Big, strong boy, man. I understand.
Next, we have the women's match for the inaugural Women's Crown Jewel Championship. Liv Morgan, the Raw Women's Champion, versus Nia Jax, the SmackDown Women's Champion. I'm going to take this and I'm going to say everyone on paper thinks Nia should win. Nia should definitely win because, you know, she's Nia Jax. She's on a run. How crazy would it be, though, if Liv Morgan won? Just think about it.
I throw a lot of hypotheticals around. I throw a lot of wouldn't it be crazy ifs around. Not on Nia Jax.
Not on Nia.
Bias, man.
It's okay. So you're going Nia?
I don't even want to think of the possibility of it not being Nia. Nia better go out there and Brock Lesnar that girl.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. We're not gonna debate anymore on this specific match. You're going Nia, I'm going Liv.
That's it.
If the result goes any which way, no matter what, because we're not debating anything else on this.
Yes.
We come back and discuss this match.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, we will.
That's where we're leaving it. And I would normally pick Nia here, but I'm going Liv, and we'll see how this goes.
I look forward to it.
Next, we have the men's match for the Crown Jewel Championship. We got Cody Rhodes, the SmackDown champion, versus Gunther, the Raw World Champion.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your head at? Where are you going here?
It's an interesting spot because I really don't think the world was expecting this match for maybe like another couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Gunther versus Cody. And I guess it's a good thing that we've already seen Gunther lose a match.
Mm-hmm.
I almost want to make, you know what, I'm going Gunther.
Okay.
I'm going Gunther because I feel like internationally, I like Gunther more. And also, it would be too easy for Kevin Owens to go all the way to Saudi Arabia to cost Cody Rhodes that match. I mean, well, he's already there for Randy Orton, but why would he stop at Randy Orton if he beats him?
Yeah.
When I was here for Cody Rhodes, and y'all didn't let me in the building because y'all didn't like me putting my hands on Cody Rhodes. Well, I'm in the building. I'm getting Randy Orton, and why should I stop at Randy Orton?
You know what? I'm agreeing with you that I would say Gunther. Like a very fractional percentage of me says Cody, but I'm gonna say Gunther here. I think stylistically it makes more sense because, you know, Kevin. We both have Kevin winning. Kevin's gonna be the next thing for Cody. He can be like, well, you didn't do whatever it took to beat Gunther and bring the Crown Jewel title to SmackDown. Yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. Gunther and Damian already had their thing where you handle your business, but when you come back, you have me. So I could see definitely Gunther pulling it out and calling himself the champion of champions or whatever. So I'm gonna go Gunther here. I'm in agreement with you. And then that's all the matches slated, but there could be a seventh match that we're just gonna toss in randomly, and it is the Bloodline 6-man tag potentially. And We're not going to say who the people are. I'm sure you guys can put the people together, the OG and the new. So just if this match does happen, what do you think is going to be the result in your eyes?
Bloodline wins, not the original.
The new.
The new. And I'll tell you why. Real short and sweet. We'll keep it simple. If it does happen, I think until the bloodline has their four, or at least has their wise man, they will continue to lose every week to the bloodline. Until the OGs get Paul Heyman back, they will continue to lose. And I think, honestly, they probably might not get Paul back until either right before or right after the War Games.
You know,
I think, yeah. And I'll stop it there.
You know, I actually like that. And I was thinking the same things, kind of like they lose. I have them losing too. I have the new bloodline winning. But it was for a different reason. But you bringing up the wise man does make a hell of a point. I was thinking because I could see Rock popping up at Saudi. I could see Rock showing up at Crown Jewel and throwing a wrench in the plans. And then when Rock comes in, throws a wrench in, that's when the wise man comes into play. But again, we're what? Today's official date, the 28th. This might air the 29th. We got about a month to go until War Games. I think they're going to move really fast and make everything happen week by week, but maybe even show by show. But
probably
I could definitely see that scenario playing out.
Yeah, I think they'll cross-brand it up until War Games.
Because you still got somebody assigned to Raw.
Exactly. Especially if they get the fourth from Raw. I don't think they are anymore. I think they might go with the guy they've been keeping in the tuck. But in case they do go with Sammy, they would still need that on Raw. And who's to say the bloodline ain't just going to show up on Raw anyway for Jay?
Yeah, and they could potentially tease Sammy and then take him out.
I'm sure at some point Sammy could run into Jay. But then would you really want to run into Jay? Is Kevin Owens' friend right now? Not sure how it's gonna play out for anybody. But yeah, that's where I'm at on it. I think the bloodline wins. I think they need to until War Games, until Paul comes back.
I agree. So with that being said, that is everything for the Crown Jewel predictions. We will see if you or me got the most right, because I think we have like one or two differences.
We got a couple differences.
So that's it for Crown Jewel. That's all my points. I believe that might be all your points. With that being said, Stevie, take us home.
Yo, thank you for joining us. Thank you for staying with us this long. Man, if you feel the same way, if you feel differently, put it in the comments. We got a comment section on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, we got one on Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, why not like it? You stayed this long. Why not subscribe if you stayed this long? I mean, we got a bunch of different platforms. You can hit this little link that we got in the description. That'll take you to all our other things. You can follow us on all of the stuff, all of the things, the TikToks, the IGs of it all of it. And just tell us what you think. Tell us your predictions. We love to hear from you, and we only got more stuff coming. So thank you for staying this long. I've been Stevie Jobber That.
Been Dangerous
Duke. And this has been the Dangerous Jobbers Podcast. Please stay up, stay blessed, and as always,
stay dangerous.
People have been asking me